No host of heaven is created in God's. And man, we minimize it. We minimize. I do. I was in my office getting dressed. I was putting my suit on, and I was looking in the mirror, and I'm like, man, let me get this, God. I am created in your image somehow. I am created in your image some way. And I've looked at myself in the mirror, and I've spoken negative things over myself. I've not liked the way I look. I've not liked different things, and I've spoke them. Lord, I repent. Help me. I am created in your image, in your likeness, and nothing else in creation is created in His likeness but you. Now, I think there's something very specific about you that's created in the image of God. A power that you have, and I believe it's the power of speech. A parrot can mock what you say, but a parrot cannot have a conversation. A parrot can't think about what it's thinking about. It can't choose the words that it speaks. It's taught the words that it speaks. So even going back, and you can't remember, some of us learning English. There's some of us in here, it's a second language, so you might remember. Or you might learn Spanish or or Hebrew or whatever, right? But whatever base language you began at, you probably don't remember learning. Can we agree? But you understand what those words mean, and now you can choose to articulate them in whatever way you would like to, and you can string together sentences in your own accord. True? There's no other creation, no other animal that has the ability to do that but you. It says that we can see God's eternal attributes in all that He's created, but no other portion of His creation is created in His image with the ability to think, of consciousness, to speak. And I think that because we can speak, I think there is a great responsibility that comes along with the ability to speak. And I think we should really measure and think about. And I mean, we're going to see in the scriptures in a minute, Jesus said for every idle word, for every careless word, and that word in the Greek is argos, I believe. And one of the definitions for that word is unproductive. That hit me like a bolt of lightning when I looked into that. Unproductive. So, do you want your speech to be productive or unproductive? Your speech can the Israelites in the wilderness, I've shared this, they're thirsty and they start complaining. Yeah, they're thirsty, man. We've had this heat dome over us, right? It's been hot. Well, it's like that all the time in the desert of Israel. Dry, though. No water. They're thirsty. And they start to complain about it. And then what happens? God sends snakes. Poisonous snakes, and start biting them. They, through their negative speech, made their situation worse. And you can do the same thing. Or through your positive speech, you can make your situation better. The choice is yours. And I want to encourage us to choose the better, to choose the positive. This morning, again, there's some things around the building, things happening to people, brothers, sisters, issues that are happening. The basement tends to flood when it rains hard like this. It was flooded and all these things. And it's like, Hakol Mishamayim. Everything's from heaven. And the Lord's been ministering this word to me, and that's why it's coming to you. I have one paper to write for my class. I had the last day of class a couple of Thursdays ago. And now I have a paper that I have to write, and the subject this topic that I'm writing on is really big. And I started researching it, and I'm like, Denny, I don't even know what I'm talking about. So I've allowed myself to be a little stressed out about it, and I was talking to Tabitha about this, and I said, I've got to stop talking like this. I've got to stop with the negativity. This is an opportunity for me to explore a subject, to explore something that I don't know anything about and learn about it. It's not an inconvenience, it's an opportunity. Hard things come, they're not inconveniences, they're opportunities for us to grow and overcome. And man, shifting the speech will change everything. So in this, I want to start at the beginning. So we're going to go to Genesis chapter 1. If you don't mind standing for the word, initial reading of the word here, if you're able, thank you. In the beginning, God created the heavens and earth. Now, this translation, honestly, in the beginning, it does not do the text justice. Because you might think this is the beginning of God and begin to contemplate that, but that's not. The better translation would have been at the beginning of creation of the creation in time, not God's beginning, but in our beginning, at the beginning of time, which God existed before time, God created the heavens and earth. The earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was moving over the surface of the waters. And then God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. I love there's an amazing man of God, Dr. John Lennox. He's a professor of Cambridge University of mathematics, and he's a believer. He's a Christian. And he talks about the word, or the universe being word-based. Please be seated. He talks about DNA even being word structure, and if one letter is out of whack, it causes sickness and disease. That's how important words are. That God used them to create existence as we know it. He existed before it. But us, He spoke us into creation. I love the actual Hebrew thought is that He sang creation into existence. But that's the power of words. I love this. The earth was formless and void. This formless and void is the Hebrew words tohu va-bohu. And it literally really means chaos, chaotic. Now I love this though because it's not chaos as in, listen to this. The earth was not chaotic because God failed. Rather, creation was unfinished. The following 6 days show God bringing order and beauty and purpose. God spoke and said, "Let there be light." And it was this that began to bring order and beauty and purpose. And you hold that same kind of power. Now, you're not going to create something from nothing. Don't get me wrong. But you sure can make your situation worse. Or you sure can make your situation better. You can speak order over your situation, or you can agree with chaos. It's your choice. We go on. Then God said, He spoke. Then God said, "You exist by a word." Then God said, "Let us make man in our image according to our likeness." and let them rule over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the sky and over the cattle. And you know the first mission that God gave Adam was to name the animals. And whatever man called them was what they were called. You have been commissioned to co-create with God, and He gave you the ability to speak, and your words are so powerful. If you want to walk in freedom, who wants to walk in freedom? You've got to talk in freedom. Stop speaking negativity and bondage over your situation and begin to speak positive order, beauty, and glory over your situation. This isn't an obstacle. This is an opportunity. Your words are so powerful. You know, they're so powerful, and I know there's people in this room, and it was that way for me for a long time, that negative words that were spoken over me as a kid from my father or from whoever or whatever damaged me for so long. And some of us are still damaging us. But you've got the power to look at yourself in the mirror and speak something different. God said, you're beautiful. He said, Hephzibah, my delight is in you. Speak that over yourself. Who cares what your father, who was an imperfect man, said about you? People say things they don't mean and mean things they don't say and all. Right? We already talked about that. Let that go. Speak what your heavenly Father speaks about you. That you're more than a conqueror in Christ Jesus. That you're an overcomer. That you've been saved by that before the foundation of the earth, God chose you. Speak those things over yourself. Speak this reality over yourself. By Jesus' stripes I'm healed. It pleased the Father to crush Him for our iniquities, to chastise Him for our well-being. And by His scourging, you are healed. Now, I'm not saying to throw out reality. Don't say, I can't stop doing this. It's done. I can overcome this. Through Christ, who strengthens me, I can overcome all things. It's just got a hold on me. No, it can't hold me. The moment you make up your mind and you're done and you begin to speak that truth over you, everything will change. If you want to walk in freedom, you've got to start talking in freedom. You've got to stop agreeing with the negative garbage. This is one of the strongest cases in the Tanakh, in the Hebrew Bible, about the power that's in your mouth. Proverbs chapter 18, with the fruit of a man's mouth, his stomach will be satisfied. He will be satisfied with the product of his lips. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Now, the fruit could be death, the fruit could be life. Your choice. But I promise you, how many of us have let something out of our mouth and it didn't get any better? It just got worse. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Oh my gosh. People always reject me. And then it gets down in here and you eat the fruit of it because apparently you love it. And that's what it means. It doesn't mean that you'll necessarily like it. But that's the fruit that you'll eat from. And here's what happens. People always reject me. Hey, how you doing today? Fine, why? Okay, never mind. See? There they go, rejecting me. I wonder why. You're eating the fruit. If you want to walk in freedom, I think of this. There's this thing called imposter syndrome. And whenever we begin to do something that is unfamiliar and new to us, we'll feel like an imposter. It won't feel natural to you. But you do it, and you let the rest of everything else catch up. If there's something about you that doesn't feel right. So when I first started preaching, Connie can testify, there were a lot of rights, you knows, and ums. I try not to do that anymore. Filler language. Right? You know? You know? And I watched my message and I was like, oh my gosh. At one point, we were having a new attendees dinner downstairs, and I was sharing, and Rabbi was there. This is before Rabbi resigned, and we're down there, and he's sitting at the table, and he leans over at Tabitha and says, "Hey Tabitha, every time that Pastor Matthew says right or will you smack his leg?" And she said, "No. I know my husband. I can't do that." Because looking, what are you doing? Right? But I had to grow in it. And you can grow in it. So what if your feelings are that everybody rejects you? Say something different. I'm created in God's likeness. I'm beautiful. I'm accepted in the beloved. Speak something different over yourself. Say something different over your situation. Because I promise you, it's right here. There's power in the tongue. There's power in your mouth. There's power in your speech. And that's another reason to not just talk. The Bible also says where there are many words, transgression is sure. We just talk. Let's let our words be valuable. There's this concept called, what is it, Tabitha, help me? Those who share too much. Contribution score. You all know these people. Every time you're in a group, they have something to say. And you look around and you watch. Those people start talking, and everybody in the group starts looking out the window. They start looking at their phone. They look at their watch. And then you got the one person that doesn't ever say much. And all of a sudden they start to share something, and everybody listens. Have you seen it? Your words are powerful. They mean something. Blessing is so powerful, and we minimize it so much. Oh, bless you. Bless you. Do you mean that? I mean, think of going in biblical history. Jacob and Esau. Isaac blesses and then says, I already spoke the words. I can't take it back. I spoke those words over Jacob. They were supposed to be for Esau. And sorry, Esau, I can't take it back. It is what it is. That's the power of words. Do you believe it? You can speak life over your situation or death. And I promise you, you will eat its fruit. One way or the other. It could be a super delicious, tasty Honeycrisp apple. Or it can be what is that fruit, durian? If anybody's familiar with it. It smells like trash when you cut it open. It's big. I just talked to my friend Uziel, who's in Vietnam right now. And he's like, I've tried it 6 different ways. It's bad. Those of you that like it, it's good. But I've tried it in ice cream. I've tried it in this. I've tried it in that. It's bad. You'll eat its fruit, whatever the fruit is. Jesus talking to his disciples, are you still lacking in understanding also? I love this, the actual greater definition of this. Are you still so dull? I mean, you guys have heard this message 1,000 times, right? About the power of your speech. I know I have. And then what do? We leave and we forget. Or we leave and we don't want to put in the effort it is to hold our tongue. It's effort. Because sometimes it feels so good to just let it out. But you'll eat its fruit. So Jesus says, are you still lacking in understanding? Do you not understand that everything that goes into the mouth passes into the stomach and is eliminated? Right? Because the Pharisees, the religious leaders, are talking to Jesus about not washing his hands before he eats. This isn't about all foods being clean. This is about some ritual stuff not really equating with purity. Yeah, your hands look clean. You're wearing the nice dress. And I'm guilty of how many, you say garbage out of your mouth. You look really good, though. Your hair is cut. Your family's really pretty. Whatever it is, right? You look like you got all your stuff together. And the whole time, the things that are coming out of your mouth are like crazy. But the things that proceed out of the mouth come from the heart. The Jewish thought is that the heart is the center of everything. It's the center of who you are. Your mind, will, and emotions, your heart. Everything, right? Guard your heart, for the issues of life flow from it. The heart is the issue. What's in your heart? Before you say that thing, pause. Why are you going to say that? What is the motivation? What's driving you? What are you treasuring? Because he says it's what comes out of the heart that defiles you. And the heart is like a treasure. It's a treasury. These things can come out, for out of the heart come evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witnesses, slanders. These are the things that defile the man. But to eat with unwashed hands doesn't defile a man. What's coming out? What's coming out? And I want to give you this challenge. So maybe if you're able to say, because Jesus said what comes out of the mouth comes out of the heart. So your feelings might be over here and they may not feel that way, but what you speak out of your mouth, you can speak something positive. Find something positive to say. And I question, if you're able to do that, does that mean that your heart is actually a good treasury? And that if you speak those things long enough, the rest of it will catch up, right? But if you don't, then there's no opportunity for it to catch up. So maybe your feelings don't feel the way you speak, but I say if you can confess them with your mouth, that they're in there. Like ragu. What's in there? You know what's in ragu, right? A whole bunch of unneeded added sugar that you shouldn't eat. I had to throw that in there. I'm telling you, the mouth is so important. And what goes in and what comes out is a good place to start. I'm going to tell you, a good place to start. Anybody in here want to grow in self-control? A good place to start is what you're eating. It's what you're eating. If you can begin to control your stomach, you can begin to control those fleshly desires. I mean, that's the base of it, is a fleshly desire. And that's why we're speaking murderers and false witnesses, slanders, and all these things, is because it's a fleshly desire. So if you can control that, I promise you, you'll watch it. You will gain self-control in other areas of your life. Yeah, it's not what goes in that'll defile you. But boy, it's a good place to start. Controlling yourself. Jesus again in Matthew 12, he says, either make the tree, he's talking to these Pharisees again that are saying, questioning, and that's what they're always doing, right? It's questioning. Trying to tie him up in his words. He says, either make the tree good and its fruit good, and this is for you and what you speak. Either make the tree is your heart. The fruit is that which proceeds out of it. So either make it good and its fruit good, or make the tree bad and its fruit bad. Make a choice. For the tree is known by its fruit. For the mouth speaks out of that which fills the heart. The good man brings out of his good treasure. The heart is a treasury. What is good? And the evil man brings out of his evil treasury what is evil. But I tell you that every careless word, every unproductive word that people speak, they shall give an account for it in the day of judgment. For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. Now, I'm not saying that if you say the wrong things that you'll lose your salvation. And that's not what Jesus is saying here either. What he's saying is that you will be assured of your salvation by the things that you speak. Because if it's a good tree and your heart's good, then good things will come out of it. But if it's bad, then bad things will come out of it. I mean, think about it. We all know those people. They say they're Christians. They say they're believers. But the fruit never really seems to show itself that way. They wrestle with their salvation. They're disappointed. They don't believe in the healing. And I understand we wrestle with emotions, so don't get me wrong. I get that. Life is hard. But if that's the only fruit that's ever produced, something's off. Something doesn't seem right. The math isn't mathing. I'm going to end with this. I'm just going to recount the account of Numbers where the Israelites are in the wilderness and they're thirsty. Right now we're in the wilderness, guys. I understand there's a lot of times where we're thirsty. We haven't felt God's presence in some time. Whatever it is. We're thirsty. We need a drink of water. But I promise you, if you start complaining about your situation, if you start speaking negative, you're going to find yourself in hell. A living hell being bit by poisonous snakes. The fruit's going to be rotten, and it's going to be worse than it is now. You can take a deep breath. And choose to speak something different. And I want to encourage you to take that breath, speak something different, and eat of its good fruit. The power of life and death is in your tongue. Speak words of life.